On the 9th of March, we will conduct governorship and state assembly elections. But the governorship elections will only be held in 29 states of the Federation instead of 36. Recent governorship elections in 7 states are conducted off-season, and therefore it will like they are staggered. But if you start an election and there is a violence or disruption of the process, Section 26 of the Electoral Act cures that process. It's very clear as to what to do in the event of violence or natural disaster. Section 53 of the Electoral Act is also very clear as to what the Commission should do in the event of overvoting. So I think the issue of violence leading to the inability of the Commission to conduct elections is already taken care of by the Electoral Act. So it doesn't need to fall into the category of staggered election. So Naya, what can I do to reassure women and girls to still have confidence in INEC and in the electoral process? I want to say this, not just because I'm chairman of INEC. It's just a position of temporary position of privilege. If you look at the conduct of elections and the behavior of the Electoral Commission since 2010, you will agree with me that INEC is perhaps the most improved public service institution in Nigeria today. Just look at the kind of elections that were conducted before 2010 and the kind of elections that were conducted today. Look at the openness of the process. So we'll continue to do what we can to encourage, but it's not a responsibility that should be left for INEC alone. INEC is what it is on the account of the support it enjoys from citizens. We do what we can under the provisions of the law, but citizens also have a responsibility to support the Commission. Take voter education and publicity, which is one of the areas of mobilizing citizens to support the process. INEC has its own limitations. The good thing is that political parties and others are also involved in voter mobilization, which is not a responsibility that INEC can control. The responsibility for voter mobilization belongs to other entities, while we focus on voter education and sensitization. We will do whatever we can to ensure inclusion, including the full participation of women and girls. I've said it before and I'd like to say it again, that the 2019 general elections is going to be the election of the young people, including women and girls above the age of 18. These are the people eligible to register and to participate in the process. Simply because of some of the actions that we have taken. For the first time, we organized a campus outreach. And it was tremendous success in all the 6 geopolitical zones, mobilizing young people to go and register, as a result of which, out of the 84 million registered voters in Nigeria today, 22.3 million are young people. But if we take young people between the ages of 18 and 35, they constitute over 51% of the registered voters in Nigeria. We'll continue to do whatever we can to ensure the inclusion of young people in the electoral process. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's come to this side of the hall. Gentlemen here. I think I recognize you.
Thank you very much. My name is Clement Wambo, the convener of the Nigeria Civil Society. Two first is that the Nigerian people obviously are very, very disappointed with what has happened. But certainly, I think that whatever the disappointment is and whatever the anger is amongst Nigerians, looking ahead is to ask Nigerians to translate that into a determination to vote on the new date that INEC has set. I think that people have been very mobilized for these elections. A lot have traveled to different parts of the country and all in an attempt to make sure that they vote. On behalf of the Nigeria Civil Society Association, we urge Nigerians to be patient with INEC, not because we should not be angry, but because they need to cast their votes and they need to express themselves. Voting is something that has become increasingly very, very important for Nigerians. And I think this is perhaps one of the most mobilized Nigerian electorate in recent times. So we urge Nigerians to please be patient with the situation and set to cast their votes. Secondly, the Independent National Electoral Commission is an independent body recognized under the Constitution. We might have challenges with the decisions that have been made. We might have challenges with the circumstances that we're in, but we must recognize that the Independent National Electoral Commission is a body recognized under the Constitution with powers to run our elections, and this must be respected by all persons. Whatever we do, we must not undermine the independence and integrity of the election management body, INEC, in this country. So we urge all of the parties, we urge every stakeholder involved in this process that whatever you do, where you could tamper with the independence of INEC, you will be destroying the basis of our democracy in this country. Thirdly, INEC needs, the chairman has made a very important comment, and that comment relates to the sanctity of election materials. There are different stages that these election materials have traveled across the country. In some states, it has not been tampered with beyond a certain level. The INEC chairman needs to confirm to us that these materials, where they have been tampered with, must be retrieved and new materials are sufficiently protected and untampered with are available for the elections. I think that the point, because from last night we were getting reports that materials had in fact begun to travel right down to some levels, whereas in some places it had not even left the beginning stages. So I think that INEC needs to take every step to assure Nigerians that where these materials have been exposed to mishandling or indeed exposed to partisan handling, that these materials are retrieved and we receive assurances that they would be protected in order to ensure that we have a proper election.
Thank you very much.
On the table. Thank you.
The next gentleman, glasses.
My name is Christian Ogodo, Arise Media Group. Mr. Chairman, in your about 4 years on the saddle, along with your team, you have conducted state governorship elections which have mostly been inconclusive. Will next week's election, if it turns out to be inconclusive, are you prepared for that? What alternate plans do you have? Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Enjuma Abi Mohammed. I'm the national chairman of the Movement for the Restoration and Defense of Democracy, MRDD. Before now, we have been concerned about possible external interference to the INEC. The issue has always been, is INEC truly independent, or is INEC being surreptitiously controlled by the powers that be? From what is happening here today, I think we thank God that even the ruling party is one of the parties that are complaining, and this attests to some extent to the independence of INEC. Now, the problem is that from all indications, it is not an external problem, but an internal problem of INEC. the case that is established that has brought us to this situation today is about internal sabotage. I want to ask the INEC chairman, are you confident with the loyalty of your staffs? How genuine and loyal are your contractors? These two elements certainly must have played critical roles in what has gotten us here today, in making the elections impossible. Thank you.
Sure. Let's take some ladies. This way.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ikemere Tukwa, and I'm with Amplified Media. A point of correction to whom it may concern, voters are the real key players here. And as we have seen in the elections, my concerns are about the Nigerians in diaspora. Do their votes actually count? They have come all this way, and some of them are stranded, some of them will leave. Are their votes valid? And food for thought. We should bear in mind that we are majorly the face of Africa to the world. So we should exercise caution when we actually address things like the postponement of the election, because we are the face of Africa. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The gentleman in glasses.
Hello, sir. Mr. Chairman, my name is Peter Okocha. I work for the BBC. You've had 4 years to organize these elections. You failed to do that. What makes you think you can do it in just 1 week? Thank you.
Okay. Red card.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Chief Perry Opera, National Chairman, National Unity Party. Mine is an advice. Today is not a happy day in Nigeria. Most people are frustrated. Most of them have left some places to another location for the mere reason that they want to participate. I want to extract firm commitment from you today, because the international community, Nigerians in diaspora, Nigerians at home, and the media are watching. We want to confirm if there will not be another postponement, if 23rd of February is sacrosanct. Thank you.
Okay, I'll take the lady. Any lady question? Okay, let's go to the lady over here, please.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lizzie Chippy. I write for Other People in Nigeria. Yes, my question is, I'm a bit concerned as regards to the situation of the electorate that will be going out to vote the coming week. Because going by what INEC has said, in less than 1 week, INEC facilities have been attacked. Yes, a lot of money was earmarked for the security as it concerns the INEC budget. Over 700 million was earmarked for the security agencies. And I'm wondering, knowing very well that this is not the first time INEC facilities will be attacked whenever elections hold in this country, why didn't INEC put measures in place in terms of security to guard their facilities? And how is INEC going to assure us today that the security men are prepared to provide security for Nigerians and the international observers who will be participating in this election in the coming week? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think these are enough questions for the chairman to respond to. Yes, you want to clarification as to campaigning. I thought you might say a question. Just as to campaigns, right?
Yeah, but let me make the point. I'm here with the microphone.
Yes, but sorry, sir, you've already had one chance. Let's respond and then let's get.
Mr. Chairman, I seek your permission to seek a clarification on the issue of no campaigning for the week next week. Now, Mr. Chairman, you see that people have been demobilized by the act of this election. There's a lot of pain, there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of disappointment. I think it is right for the political parties to help and ginger Nigerians to come out again, to forgo what they are going to do next week and come out again. I don't think it will be right for us to have a week of silence in the event of a very massive disappointment in the country. We are totally for elections. We are for peaceful elections, and that is why we have taken in our stride the great losses we've incurred. We didn't want to enter into the theatrics of blaming the chairman, but we think that you should reconsider your position, and that there must be campaigning. People must continue to get Nigerians to come out and vote in the 48 days.
I will tell you something you want to respond to this question.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Clem, representing the Nigerian Civil Society Situation Room. It is always very important to assure and reassure citizens in times like this and to instill public confidence and trust in the process and to keep the peace. You asked about the sanctity of the election materials and the need to reassure Nigerians that the materials are safe. Yes, we deployed some of the materials we received, but there are no reports that any of the materials were used in the election for the election. We will audit, and then, as I said in my speech, we'll come out clean if there is any such tampering with the materials. The sanctity of the process is important. So too is the sanctity of the materials used for the election, and we are committed to protecting both the process and the material. Thank you, Clem. Christian from Arise, that we conducted mostly inconclusive governorship elections. Well, an inconclusive election is an election in which no winner emerges on first ballot, so it goes to the second ballot. And I've never had anyone say we have concluded an inconclusive or have concluded an election in the second round outside the provisions of the law. But statistically speaking, I think the figures you read out are wrong, in the sense that we didn't conduct most of the elections inconclusively. We conducted 7 governorship elections off-season, out of which only 2 were declared inconclusive, meaning that no winner emerged outrightly on first ballot. But you recall that of the 7 elections we conducted, the 2 that were declared inconclusive were in Kogi and Bayelsa. But the governorship election in Edo, Ondo, Anambra, Ekiti, and Oshun were not that inconclusive. Yes, Oshun, yes, because of Oshun too. But if you look at 7 elections we conducted, not many of them are, not the majority are inconclusive. Danjuma, internal problem of INEC sabotage of process, staff and vendors genuine. Well, so far, I've received no evidence of internal or external sabotage, but we are not naive. We'll keep our eyes open and we'll deal with the situation as it arises. Nigerians in the diaspora, do their votes count? Are their votes valid? Every legitimate vote counts. Every legitimate vote counts. The only thing I can say is that it's commendable that Nigerians living outside the country, in spite of the absence of diaspora voting, still come back to the country and vote. I want to say that INEC is committed to diaspora voting. The constraint is the law. The law now says that you vote where you are registered, and you cannot be registered outside the shores of the country. But we submitted a proposal to the National Assembly to allow for 2 categories of citizens to vote outside the country. Nigerian citizens in foreign service or military service overseas, like the diplomatic community, as well as those on military service overseas or any other legitimate service outside the country. This is called OCV, out of country voting. They are citizens but are not resident in another country. Then you have the diaspora voting. Diaspora voting here means Nigerians resident outside the country who vote in elections. We are committed to that, and I want to tell you that perhaps in not too distant future, you will be able to vote where you are without having to come back to Nigeria and vote. We submitted a proposal to the National Assembly. We hope that the enabling laws will be amended. We have even produced what we can conveniently call draft guidelines for OCV, out-of-country voting, and diaspora voting as well. We welcome this new innovation, and we look forward to the day when Nigerians living in diaspora will also represent other Nigerians living in diaspora in our national parliament, because this is what happens elsewhere. Citizens not only vote, but they also represent other citizens in their national parliament. We have cooperated and worked with several countries in our sub-region which have the system of diaspora voting for their own citizens within Nigeria, including making provision of some of our ballot boxes and voting cubicles for diaspora voting, and will continue to do so. Danjuma, I think I've responded to the question asked and the question on diaspora. Peter Okocha, that the Commission failed to organize an election in 4 years. What guarantee is there that the election can be organized in 1 week? I'm not sure that there is any nation that organizes its election in 1 week. I stand to be corrected, but I'm unsure. So what we are going to do in the next 1 week is not to organize an election afresh, but to address the challenges that arose from organizing the election. Every election is different. Every election comes with its own peculiar challenges, and the Electoral Commission must continue to rise to these challenges. But the most important thing for me is, are we operating within the confines of the law, or that we have strayed outside the confines of the law? So we'll continue to organize good elections. This is our commitment. But what we are going to do next week doesn't amount to organizing or conducting an election within a week. And I hope that Peter Okocha from the BBC will be here in the next 1 week, a little more, to cover the outcome of our 2019 general elections. The choice is in the hands of Nigerians. Chairman NUP, is 23rd February sacrosanct? Without equivocation, it is. And this is our commitment to Nigerians. Lizzie, attack on INEC facilities. Unfortunately, you said that this is the first time. So this is not the first time it has happened before. You are right. Between the 2015 general elections and some of the off-season elections we have conducted, 13 offices of the Commission were burnt down as a result of arson and politically related violence. 13 of our 774 local government offices were actually burnt down, and many other facilities and assets of the Commission. So we'll continue to work with the security agencies to protect these assets, and as well as the protection of the staff of the Commission, whether they are regular staff or ad hoc that we engage for election duty. Can political parties go into the election next week in silence if campaign is not allowed? My simple answer to this question is, and the person who asked the question should know as a politician, that no political actors are silent. Thank you. We have to go to the airport. No.
Honorable Chairman, National Commissioners, party leaders, leaders of CSO, I'd like to thank you very much. I'm afraid that is all we can take. We scheduled this briefing for 2 hours, and as the chairman said earlier, him and the commissioners have to get to the airport. We apologize to those who could not take your questions and your comments. Our sincere apologies, please. There will be many more opportunities for several briefings in the next few days. So on behalf of the commission, I'd like to say thank you very much for honoring our invitation, even under such short notice and difficult circumstances. Thank you very much.